Maskani, everyone. This is Professor Rahh, Professor Emeritus, California State University, Long Beach, Africana Studies Department, former city councilman for the city of Compton, and former Compton Unified School District Board of Trustees, and former Compton College Board of Trustees, along with my co-host, longtime educator, administrator, and the first Black head coach for Linwood Unified School District, as well as top educator and administrator for the Compton Unified School District, and outstanding historian of our ancient history, spirituality, and with regard to the Mayat and the need for us to really be an example that Joe sets of self-education and self-study. So we're here this evening to discuss a couple of issues, and hopefully that you would respond to them in kind. We want to welcome Brother Mshinda is here, as well as Brother Joe Hembrick, as I said. And we want to thank Brother Rashaki Maskani for his work and helping us deal with the Conscious Corner on his platform, Community Education Network, that will be on tomorrow at Wednesday at 6 p.m. So we want to thank everyone for listening and coming in and chiming in. We got a couple of issues we're going to discuss. First issue is the issue of a Black perspective of Donald Trump being convicted, how you see it and what you think about it. We're going to start with Brother Mshinda. Mshinda, how are the people dealing with it in Louisiana? Right. Are you there? You're on mute. We'll come back to Mshinda. Joe, what about you?
Man, I really don't pay attention to politics stuff, but I'd be surprised if he do any time. I wish he would, but I think they're afraid to give him some time, as what these crazy crackers end up probably doing. So, we shall see.
Mm-hmm.
We shall see.
Okay. What about you, Rashaki?
I've been watching a few commentators on CNN talk about it, and I don't see him doing any jail time, and it just shows you how divided the two parties are, when a lot of Republicans think that it's a witch hunt, and then a lot of the Democrats say that he's guilty and want him to pay for his crimes. But I don't think anything is going to happen. He may, if anything, he may get probation, if that. But and then I was listening. They were saying that maybe the appeal process is going to take up a lot of time, and they want nothing will happen before the election, so he could possibly be elected, and then what then? Once they come with the after appeal process, so it's I don't think anything's going to happen to him detrimental, where to keep him from being successful in running a full campaign and all of that, and possibly being elected. So it's just it's a strange thing how he could be even considered as a president in the United States, being that he has no background for it. So it just lets you know that we're really in a dire situation in the United States.
Well, okay. Well, he was a former president, so he got credentials now if he didn't have them before. But let me just say this. First of all, we got to give a lot of respect, honor, and support to the Black prosecutors that have prosecuted him. what white folks couldn't get done, black people did. Uh, District Attorney Alvin Bragg did a great job, despite the threats on his family and on him, despite the naysayers. Remember, they said he couldn't bring the case. Said it's the weakest of all cases. Well, let me just go back for a minute. First of all, politics affect you whether you participate or not. You know, I mean, they control the prices, they control food, gas. I mean, this is a corporation. America's a corporation. It's a big business, a multi-trillion dollar business. They have $1 trillion in debt. But the point is that if we don't show a value for studying politics in front of our children, our wives, our families, then that's why they don't have a value for it. But we got to be more political, not only locally, which affects us every day, not only statewide, which affects us every day, but also national politics as well as international politics, because that politics and economics go hand in hand, and it's we should respect those that fought for us the right to vote. Many of them were murdered. Medgar Evers, C.C. Vivian. I mean, because it's important. Not that it's important that we see ourselves as Americans, but we're affected by, you know, if voting wasn't important, why they work so hard to suppress the black vote through gerrymandering and just making them feel like it's hopeless and discouragement. Suppressing the vote is just making you feel like, oh, they all the same, ain't nothing gonna happen. But then you see what happens in the Supreme Court. You see what happens in the Senate races and congressional races. It is important to me. Now, you don't have to do this. I mean, I ain't trying to encourage nobody to change their philosophy or to value politics. I'm just saying, as an educator and as a person that really tried to get as many people politically educated as we can and get them to participate, even if you don't even see yourself as a part of the system, you're affected by the system. That's one. Second, you got to give kudos to the black people that have prosecuted him. Letitia James, the efforts of Fannie Willis, and the success, the brilliancy of Alvin Bragg. I mean, he went through so much criticism for even bringing the case. They said it couldn't be won, and it's not the most important. Whenever you get a felony, I don't care if you get one. This man was convicted of 34 felonies. And the education of the intellect, the savvy, the strategy of presenting the case and organizing the case. Because when he first came to office, Bragg didn't even want to start the case right then and there. And so he was criticized for not pursuing the case. But he went and took time, got all his ducks in a row, and came out with one of the most successful prosecutions of Trump, the only one besides Letitia James, which was criminal, and which was civil. And I mean, it was just a beautiful thing to see Black excellence in that vein from my vantage point. And so, as I was saying, that the courage of these three prosecutors to bring charges against a white man who's president, who have allies from Republicans in office as well as Proud Boys and Klansmen and all that, and they still pursue it. That's a beautiful thing to see. Now, I don't know how y'all see it, But that's what I see. Mshinda, you back yet?
Yeah, I'm driving right now, so I'm listening. I'll be stationary in a little bit.
Okay, then, my brother, good. And so
We got Lynda's here, Professor Rahh.
yeah, she just chatted. Lynda, we were talking about Trump's conviction, and from a Black perspective, what do we think? Do you have any comments?
I'm just glad it's finally happening. Something is finally happening. I was scared of me too because I hope these crackers don't let him off. They need to put him under the jail.
Yeah, they were betting on a hung jury, and all 34 counts, and that's significant for people that it reflects on America. Not that he's running, because you can run for president as a felon and as a person incarcerated, because there's nothing.
That don't make sense though.
Well, because the Constitution says the only qualification is the age, and that's it. And but you got to win various states. See, Trump then lost every popular vote every time he ran.
Correct.
The first time he ran, he lost the popular vote to Hillary Clinton. Second time he ran, he lost to Biden. He lost the popular vote.
Correct.
And so he's trying a third time. And he got a base that controls the House Republicans from the standpoint that his base is in every city, state that elects Congress people in districts. And so they're afraid of him using his base to run primaries against them or to run somebody else and they beat him out for their seat. So that's why they obey him. But the strategy is deep from the standpoint from a Black perspective because of his racist tendencies and the collaboration of some Blacks. And like you said, he had 3 more felonies indictment, and the courts have been letting him stall them out. But these are state crimes with regards to Bragg's. And they're stalling out Fannie Willis case, but it was very successful in getting felonies. And felonies do mean something to some people when it comes to voting, because it reflects on do you want this person? What do you tell your kids? Be a felon and run for president.
Wow.
You can't even get a job with a felony, and so.
So that doesn't make sense if you're saying he can't get a job with a felony, but you can run for president of the United States. That doesn't make sense. That's the oxymoron.
This country don't make no sense, but that's the structure. In some states you can't even vote.
True.
So.
So then your question is Black people. Then I think we just have to get out and vote.
Well,
what else is the kind of solution? What else can we do though?
Well, first of all, there's a lot we can do on a local level and a state level. The only office that everybody votes for is the president. And you don't vote for the president, you vote for delegates. You go to the nomination convention and they vote for the president. So you win each state, you get delegates, certain amount of delegates based on population and congressional districts. And so Trump is just trying to win 3 or 4 states, Florida, Michigan, Wisconsin, and probably Arizona. And those are what they call swing states. And if he can just win them 5 states, because the election be so close that that he could win without the popular vote, like he did in 2016. So it's a challenge. But the most important thing is political education and political participation. And that's a challenge for us to get young people who are walking around, don't even know who their councilman is, don't know who their school board members are, and don't care. And a lot of it's because a lot of us don't put an importance, a seriousness to it. And that's an instrument, a tool to fight. Malcolm said, fight on all fronts, political, economic, educational, and social. And we have to fight on all fronts. Fannie Lou Hamer went out and started the Mississippi Freedom Party and crashed the Democratic Convention and said, I question America, question it, for them to let Mississippi people be disenfranchised and call themselves a democracy. And, you know, we're up against odds, but you don't stop fighting when people are attacking you because they got more people than you. You don't just turn over and let them just beat you. You fight back. And so
Absolutely, yeah.
and so that's the key to the struggle. Any response, Rashaki?
I think he said he was driving.
No, that was Brother Mshinda.
Oh.
I agree with you that we should be politically inclined and educated.
And participatory.
Yeah, we should do that, and in most things is a practice. We practice this. You mentioned doing it and making sure your children participate also. It's a challenge to get people to be politically astute because of all of the distractions they put in front of us. But this is why we have this platform, so we can continue to educate and get people like yourself on here to put us in our place. I mean,
well, you know, Rashaki, you know, it's Carter G. Woodson, one of his first publications in 1930-something, was A Miseducation of the Negro. And there's a continuous miseducation. As we teach, and you say, you write an article on, don't let the oppressor be your teacher. Well, we went to public schools that was controlled by, well, segregated schools were controlled by whites, even if they were Black, as far as giving them the old books. And, you know, we studied just about America. But the underlying thing is that educators, ministers, and family members must instill in their children at an early age, soon as they come out the womb, the importance of political and educational development. How to go to school and get the most out of school, and don't be indoctrinated. Don't be discouraged. Realize that you can learn things to help your future, as far as skills and as far as intellectual skills such as writing and reading and math and science and any technological things you can learn. But all that propaganda, you know, pledging allegiance to America every morning from elementary school all the way up to high school, singing the Star Spangled Banner at games and all that stuff. That's all ritualization of America. And they have you thinking you're a part of it when you ain't. As Malcolm said, if we were Americans, we wouldn't catch hell. But the point is that we have to see that education on the local state, county, state, and national is important. And if we, let's for instance, the John Lewis voting rights bill, they can't get out the Senate and can't get out of the Congress. We should have a strategy from a political standpoint to be able to do that. And politics is not just voting and knowing the candidate. It's developing strong lobbying groups of PACs that finance. You can't separate economics and politics. I think one book called The Political Economy. And I'm just saying that there's a lot to politics other than voting and registering. It's understanding that sometimes you just vote for a better condition because you don't like the person. There ain't no difference between Trump and Biden. They're both sick and old, but but the whole purpose is which one that you vote for will allow you to continue the struggle. And that's the important. The politicians will be strong as long as the people are strong. And as we get stronger behind them, I remember at Cal State Long Beach, the only reason the European couldn't move on me was because of students. And I kept a strong relationship with students. And they recognized that we could have assemblies and get together and create hell on campus. So they tried a lot to fire me, but the students wouldn't let them. And that's the same thing with holding our politicians accountable. How do we hold them accountable? By being able to reward them if they do good or punish them if they do bad. So those are the things that we need to do. All right, Joe, you have any comment? You still there, Joe? Mshinda, you got where you going yet?
I was on mute.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I think from a political standpoint, our power is in voting in a block, which we tend not to do.
Well, Joe, don't we all vote? The majority of us vote Democrat. That's a block.
Well, that's been it in the past, but here lately, you got a lot of independent people voting independent, and a lot of people black people voting Republicans. Ain't there a black Republican organization out there?
Yeah, there's a number of them, but they're only 10% of the black population.
And then how much of the black population even votes?
Well, that's an issue, and you're right about that. And that's what we're talking about, getting them to vote and getting them to think that way at an early age and really start at the home. But when you have young people that just listen to music and don't care what's going on in the world, then they get upset when something bad happens.
For example, and I don't mean to speak ill of the brother, but we just had a black president do 2 terms.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see a whole lot that he did for his own folks.
Well, he did some things.
Well, he did some for the gays, for the Latinos. He did some stuff for some folks individually. But black people individually, I fail to see it.
Well, he got Obamacare passed. That helped a lot of black people. And he worked towards getting justice in the court systems as far as he could. But at the same time, he was a Democrat. A Democrat is no different than a Republican. He wasn't a black people president. He was a Democratic Party president. The only thing he could do the things that the party representative. That's why they ain't doing nothing now. He's out of office. You ain't hearing him doing that much. But he did inspire Black people to get politically educated. He did mobilize Black people to vote. And he did. The problem is building a structure that they stay engaged. And I mean, I can't argue with you about public stuff he did, but he gave a lot of recognition to a lot of Black people, hired a lot of Black people from the Attorney General, Elder, and then he, he did what he could. Like I said, the stronger we are, the stronger they'll be. And we look for him to do things by himself, but he needed us to be like every politician say, if you want me to do something, make me do it. Make me do it. That's the way to go.
Well, like you say, I listen. I don't like giving a lot of attention to it because it gives me a headache to see all the BS that goes on with it. Why I don't.
Well, all that's designed to discourage people. You got to get past that, look past that, and look at the tangible results with regards to service and key things. I mean, you got people on the Supreme Court that Biden appointed, the sister. You got a Black vice president that's second in line to be president if anything happens to Biden. You got, gays. He got gays in the office. He got in his cabinet. He got, he's doing his thing, but that's just so he can get reelected. He did a lot for the HBCs, and Obama did a lot for the HBCs, historical Black colleges. He had 250 Black men graduated from Howard. One of the schools, Morehouse. So it's you look at not just international. I mean, Obama did some things that the assassination of Gaddafi, the killing of bin Laden, all of those things, he was the commander-in-chief of the army, so he may have been forced to do those things because they killed him or his family. So I don't know. I can't argue with you about did he do anything for Black people other than Obamacare and just restorative justice in some cases. I can't even remember how many people he pardoned. But so it's a different game. He didn't exercise the power he had. I got to give you that. We got the Obama blues.
And especially his second term. You couldn't run again. He should have been putting it down.
No, his goal was to keep the Democratic Party winning, which they didn't. And they find out that the reason they didn't win was because Trump then was cheating and hiding information about his past, like the 34 counts that was related to the 2016 election, and they think that it would have been a different outcome, especially in appointing judges to the Supreme Court if Hillary Clinton would have won. But it didn't happen. Trump stole the election. And so I don't know what else to say. What about you, Lynda? Go ahead. Okay.
Okay, no, I'm just listening, and I
Um,
mean, I'm learning, but I'm learning more than what I know, and I'm not disputing anything you said, except like you can continue being educated, and I'm baffled because I still don't understand how can he run. I understood the words that you said, but it still does not make sense to me because a convicted felon.
well, he's the Republican they nominated him, you know,
Right.
and so it's not like he's doing it
But
on his own.
they haven't had the Republican convention yet, have they?
Well, he's the presumption, he's the
Right.
presumptive nominee, and
But
but
can they retract that at all?
yeah, yeah, they can choose who they want when they have their convention, but at the same time, he has a base that controls the Republican Party. His daughter-in-law is the head of the RNC, the Republican National Conference, uh, Republican National Party, that controls the money that comes in for Republicans. She said the only job she got is to get him elected. So,
No.
you know, but that's the way
But
they
but
do.
but then I mean this is not getting off the subject, but then I noticed that Hunter Biden today he's in court, and I said that was all set up in advance. So and then to take Biden off, kind of
No,
to put
it was
to make
Biden.
his son.
It was Biden. Well, see what happened. Trump appointed a special prosecutor to investigate his son charges. They came to a deal where he was supposed to plead guilty and get get the cases down to misdemeanors and a fine. The judge in that case didn't accept it because of some technicality, and they wanted the prosecutor to go back and redo the deal that makes more sense. They want to get the deal done because if Trump wins, they're going to really go at him. So, but what happened was the Republican Party put so much pressure on the prosecutor that he refiled the charges as felonies. And so he's in court. But that's under Biden's justice system, Justice Department. And, so they're in Delaware, and they got another case in California about tax evasion. But he paid all the taxes back. Generally, they let that go, and there's no case. But they're still pursuing it, trying to charge him with tax evasion, even though he don't even owe no more taxes, and trying to charge him with buying a gun, lying on the form when you buy a gun. He put down that he wasn't using drugs, and they say he was, and that's a felony, and so that's what they're charging him with. But Biden has not intervened from a political standpoint,
Right.
give him a pardon, which he probably will if he found guilty and they try to give him time.
He can pardon his own son.
Yeah,
Wow.
there ain't nothing in the Constitution say you can't. Trump talking about pardoning himself. You remember that?
Oh yeah, I do remember that. But
Yeah.
this is weird and wicked. Wow.
Well, the country was set up to really provide protections for criminals. That's why you have a right to an attorney, and right the presumption of innocence till proven guilty. And that's where they got a jury system appears and all of that, rather than one person, a judge, determining your guilt. You can go with a judge, but they got to jury system. And all of this is to give criminals rights. You see here about they got the right, they read you rights, Miranda rights. You have the right to remain silent. If you don't, what you say could be used against you in a court of law.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they give all the rights to criminals. Why? Because they were criminals.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing people do when they take over land is establish themselves as the lawmakers. You know, I mean, the Indians, they could punish the Indians if they killed one of them, but the Indians couldn't punish them if they caught them and hold court. They call them hostages and go get them with the military or wipe the Indians out. He established their land from coast to coast. The law, United States federal government, is a national law from the south to the northern border, from the east to the western border. And they got $1, one economic system, one language, English. That's because they determined that, you know, the national English, the national language would be English, you know, not diversity. On the continent of Africa, you have to change money if you just go to another country. You have to change languages. There's no national army. And that's why Sheikh Anta Diop called for continental unity, Africa unity, that they need a national army, a national president over all the countries. But the United States and other colonizers won't let them unite. And they corrupt the leaders by giving them money and threatening them death if they don't do what they say. And that's why they're able to get all the resources so cheap, because they pay the leaders. And they finance chaos. They keep groups fighting each other like they're doing in Haiti. You know, they act like they're trying to solve things, but they're the ones that created the chaos by selling them the guns and the ability to fight each other for power, by paying them to do it. You know, and there's so many books and literature on it. You know, Haiti was the first revolution, an independent Black country from the enslavement, and they've been punishing them ever since. They're still paying reparations to France for them getting their independence. France said they lost money, and I mean it's just crazy. So they financing these gangs in Haiti. It's like they got the Sudan fighting each other. So there's a famine in Sudan. Everywhere in Africa, there's a lot of chaos. The Congo, South Africa, Nelson Mandela Party just lost their ability to be a functional party in South Africa. You know, a major party. They lost a number of elections. White people cracking back and developing other leaders that would help them get all the resources. You know, South Africa had a nuclear weapon. And one of the agreements was that the white folks would still control the nuclear weapons when Nelson Mandela came out. But anyway, you know, it's a struggle. It's a struggle everywhere. Everywhere Black people is a battle line. I don't care if you just go outside your house. It's a battle line, you know, because of the racial structure of America. When the police shooting you on your doorstep, it's rough. But it's not hopeless if we struggle, organize, and make them pay a price, politically or through revolt. You know, And that's what George Floyd was, a revolt against them.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right. Mshinda, you get settled yet? What about you, Rashaki? You have any comment?
I just want to say that, um, you know, these are lessons that's being taught, because Professor Rahh, you didn't hesitate in any explanation of what you was telling us. And that's just, we got to be very grateful to have you still teaching on your personal time. You know, you're really educating us, and it's accredited to you that you're still volunteering your time to help, and you call it a struggle, and it's a righteous struggle that we have people like you, and then we have Brother Mshinda, Lynda, and historian Joe coming on to educate us and to participate in learning. So it's a beautiful thing, and I have nothing but gratitude for you all. So I just appreciate it.
See, it's hard when you don't have a philosophy, something you live by. And, you know, many people try to promote a philosophy for us, you know, creeds and value systems. But America is so dominating through the mass media. When you ever turn on the TV, the radio, they in your house and they in your head. And you got many Black women wearing yellow hair, blonde hair. I ain't talking about women that's doing it because they got bad hair or bald hair or they got a disease and they need a wig. But I'm talking about Black people that think that's beautiful. They think white people are more beautiful than them. You know, I mean, I look at Joy Reid on MSNBC. She be wearing all them blonde wigs, got makeup on, caked on them. And she's a beautiful Black woman. She just be herself. But she's trying to appeal to the general public. And the general public hate her no matter what she do. You understand? She can marry a white man, I see that. Like some Black women do and some Black men do. But that don't take that. God made you beautiful. The Creator made you beautiful. Your mother and father made you beautiful. Why change all that? Why get your nose worked on? Why get your lips cut? Why bleach your skin? Because of the dominant standard of what really is. You got Black men in sports with hair coming down the back of their head, and it's amazing, brother. But if you have a philosophy, it's just like Muslims. They say they don't eat pork, and they practice that. Regardless of how many wiener schnitzels they pass by, regardless of how many stores they go in, they got pig feet and pig ears and hog head cheese and all that. They don't eat pork because it's their culture, their spiritual culture, not to eat pork. And, you know, we have to, that's why Dr. Karinga said, the key crisis in Black life is a cultural crisis, a crisis of views and values. And I agree with that. He said that in 1966. You understand? I didn't understand it then because we thought that culture was just food and dance. Culture is value, ethics. You know, if you raise your kids not to fight each other and not to fight other Black people, not to hate Black people, they'll take your lead. Teach them to understand that, you know, when I first started out in the movement, I thought it's not liking white folks was Black. until I got into Coweta, when I thought black was loving black people, respecting black people, doing what you can to help them. That's a whole new different game. When we were in the 60s, we got in position to help black people get elected, help black people get jobs, help black people get loans and grants to buy homes. But we didn't ask them to have a value system. So many of them did it, but they turned out, doing other things and not helping others. And that's why people say, only thing bad happened to me was by another black person. How you live in a neighborhood and your son or daughter's out robbing, stealing from other black people? That's a struggle, man. I mean, that's a value system that you teach your kids. No, you don't do that. And you know where your kids are, and you train them to have more respect for themselves. Don't bring no drama to the house. And even if you're a single parent, you have to win the heart and mind of your children, or they'll break your heart. They'll have you bringing them Snickers down at the jailhouse, and putting money on their books. And they had everything they needed at home. Love, support, but the streets got them, Then some of our daughters and my daughters and other people's daughters, they make wrong choices when they don't have no benchmarks to determine a real relationship. They just go and like somebody because they got a six-pack, or like somebody because they well-known, or like somebody because they got a good car, and they sagging and got earrings on and tattoos all across their neck. And you say, well, what's going on here? Well, that kind of man is better than no man. What? You can do bad by yourself, But anyway, it's just a struggle, man. And teaching our young girls, be patient, be beautiful on the inside, develop skills that people appreciate. You got women don't even know how to fry French fries. All they know how to do is order them. You got men that don't know how to clean up. They don't think it's a woman's job. No, it's a partnership. It's a partnership. It's balanced because it's a sexist society, patriarchal society. Men supposed to rule. Righteous men, good men, yeah. But why are you gonna follow a fool? A person that, still wants to be with his partners than with his kids. It's more interested in sports than planning a family reunion or teaching love among the kids. It's a struggle, brother. It's a hell of a struggle. And most of us seen it and been a part of it. Winning the hearts and minds of our children. Where, you've lived it. They think because they get good grades, they're smarter than you. But you have lived life. And that's where your true measure of intelligence is how you can be a straight A student with bad character. You can be a college graduate, but your character is bad. But you got to develop that character at home. They used to give citizenship grades in school. Your attendance, your mannerism in the classroom. You can be a B student, but get a bad grade for citizenship.
They still have citizenship.
It's rough. It's rough, but do the kids know what that means?
You have to explain it to them.
Yeah,
They don't value it too extensively because it's not really focused. It's not a focal point, but you should mention it and talk to them about it.
Yeah, but I like the way Lynda is raising her daughter. Sharon, because she talks to her all the time and she keeps her focus. Yeah, it'd be challenges, but Lynda in Florida, she's doing a great job of raising that young lady to be a young lady. You know, talking to her every day, getting her to school, getting her back, letting her participate in productive activities. That's what you do. You know, it's guidance, man, because there's pitfalls out there in society. You got kids in school vaping, raping, you know, doing all kinds of stuff because TikTok, the media, cable TV, teach them all about sex and drugs.
That's right. Mshinda made it to his destination.
Okay, then. Well, you know, Mshinda, you there? Yeah.
Yo, how you doing?
Oh man, it's good. I hear you in town.
Yeah, I done touched down, man. I've been running around, just got back in. Um, so yeah, I've been listening, for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any comments?
Well, you was talking about Trump and that fiasco, and I was just thinking, I mean, I don't think we should expect any different, the system that we living in, it's kind of nothing new under the sun. It just, it's reached, a different level. I think social media and the technology that we have these days is fueling this situation. It gives the people I don't know, courage, and it gives them different ideas, so in other words, uh I'm just not shocked at any of it, whether he do time and all that. They say it's a class E level, low level felonies,
What does that
so they
mean?
should use
What
what
does
it
that mean?
means. Well, it's just different classes. Class A is like murder, Class E is like, what he did, I guess is considered low level. However, each count does carry up to 4 years, but they said very rare do a judge give somebody time for those types of felonies. Probation is probably what's going to happen. Of course, he's going to challenge it, and he got his people on the Supreme Court. And so we never know so he's going to appeal it, and it'll be put off probably, they'll have his sentencing and all that kind of stuff. But when they appeal it, he'll stay out of jail, and, he could be ordered to jail. I don't know. Um, but anyway, he's leading, according to some of the people, he's leading in a lot of the polls and a lot of the battleground states and things like that. However, some say that the ones that's, kind of in between their thinking, they might say, well, if he's a convicted felon, they got some kind of, dignity and integrity, maybe. So they might not go for him per se, that kind of thing. So it might flip it because the people that might have went for Trump because of the conviction, you're going to tell your kids, your grandkids, we voted for a felon, we voted for a convicted felon, that kind of thing. So I don't know. All I can say is I woke up this morning about 4:30 in the morning, and I was looking at something on Netflix called Stamped from the Beginning, I think it's called. And I heard maybe a minute of it or 2 minutes of it. And then I turned it off because, I don't know, I had to do something. And I said, I'm going to look at this later. But it was talking about Jefferson Davis, who was a Confederate president. He was a senator. And basically, he was one that was talking about, Black inferiority. And he was talking about, depowering, the educational system for Black people, and all that kind of stuff. In other words, back in slavery, you couldn't read, they do something to you if they catch you with a book. So he was, like I say, from the Confederate. So he was, so I'm gonna go back and check that out. But so my thing is, it reminded me of the governor in Louisiana that we have right now, who is talking about, defunding schools if they do any kind of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and Black history and things we've discussed already, like they do in Florida and other places they're doing it. And so at the end of the day, uh, it's uh, so it's part of the structure. So I was just using that. That was back in time in history, where and they got streets named after this guy, all over Louisiana, different places in Louisiana, Jefferson Davis Parish, I believe, things like that. So, so Hitler, all of them, they basically are, everybody's in the same boat, as far as their thinking. And so it's nothing different, So I think, well, now what do we do? What is it that we do? I don't know. I said a long time ago, I don't know. A lot of folks they gone. It's hard to compete with the forces that are out there, social media and all kind of things. I talked to a few Blacks. They voting for Trump. Oh, who you vote for? Trump? I'm not. Yeah, you vote for who you want to vote for. It's supposed to be a free country. However, they don't know why they're doing it. They're listening to this and they're listening to that. Myself, I do the lesser of the two evils, maybe, and look at other factors and make my own personal decision, but I'm gonna be involved in the process, which at a time in my life I wasn't a part of it, intentionally, and I lived with that because it didn't stop me, but it's not just about me. It's about the bigger spectrum. So at the end of the day, so I don't know. I don't really have any major answers or anything like that. It's just that with the structure we live in America, we're less than 13% of the population, and it's a stronghold for what's been going on. And this is their last call. This is their last call for their survival. It's well documented. So it's nothing new. So all we can do is continue to try to educate the kids, and as time goes on with attrition, it's going to play out. I don't know if in our lifetime we'll see it play out, but we can't give up. We got to continue to struggle and continue to infuse history and learning, and so we can make better decisions for us, our families, our friends, people that we come in contact with. So anyway, that was just a freestyle of just my thoughts, and I'm good.
Yeah. We were talking about the need for educating young people to be politically savvy and develop a philosophy of life for their future that they live by, ethics and morals and values. We grow up in the streets and we develop street values. We grow up as men. It's about sexual consumption. It's not about one woman. It's about how many you can have. Because we watch the Shafts and the Superflies and the gangsters and the hustlers on the street, and they become our role models. Even some politicians, Marion Barry and others out philandering with other women while they're in office and stuff. So, and when you have your male hormones at an early age, it's hard to be satisfied with just one for some people, unless you develop a value and a determination what manhood is. And that's controlling your sexual appetite and managing it versus having babies all over the place. I can talk because I was wild. You understand? And I understood. I had 3 babies almost in the same month by different women. So I knew I was out there. You understand? Superfly at night and Malcolm in the daytime. And it don't work. You got to be one way or the other. You can't mix the two. And but I kept a strong relationship with all my kids and their mothers. And we all in good relationship. You understand? So it didn't harm the kids because I pick them up, take them, and they learn their brothers and sisters, even though they had different mothers. And they treat each other that way. They care for each other. They look out for each other. Then when I got married, I had 3 kids with my wife. And I saw the value of me being there all the time with them kids versus me being just with my other kids when they were young, when I could be, or when I wanted to be with them, or when they wanted to be with me. It's a difference. The day-to-day raising of a child is different from support, financial support, and birthday support, and Christmas support, and that's different. You understand? When you're there and you're watching them, you can give them your wisdom and your knowledge, especially if you develop a value system that says that's important to raise your children to be ethical, moral, and focused on their education and on their consciousness. And that's the difference, in the three kids, the three that I had out of wedlock, and the three that I had. You understand? They had they had a mother and a father at the same time. Whereas the other three, I was there when I could be. And so their day-to-day struggle was with their mom. And they did the best they could, don't get me wrong. Most of them turned out excellent, excellent. But there's nothing like having your real daddy there instead of him picking you up on the weekends, on holidays, whenever we can get together and you can spend the night. It's a difference, man. And so it's a struggle, man. But now I learned the difference. I can teach the difference. You understand? And help young men understand that having a bunch of babies ain't nothing. Raising them is the thing, and teaching them and being there for them on a day-to-day basis. That's a different struggle, But anyway, any closing comments, Joe? What about, Joe?
Oh, sir.
No closing comment? All right, what about you, Mshinda?
No, I think, point well taken. I think things that we emulate who we are as we matriculate through life from childhood up into adulthood. I mean, there's a lot of pre-programming going on, a lot of conditioning going on, and that's what it is. And like Rashaki talk about it all the time, we got to kind of, kind of fine tune, what we're doing. Got to eliminate some of the things that we might have been doing, and we're talking. Of course, we talk about the kids too. I mean, as adults and older adults, we try to, do the best we can, and what we do. But I mean, it is what it is. We learn what we learn, but the name of the game is to, identify. If you're able to identify, right and wrong, or what's the better choice, what is the better alternative in life, the better route to go. That's important. And so unless you keep positive images in front of you, or subjected to, you know, some of these teachings that you're talking about, it's a tough struggle for people. And we see where people end up, because nothing's guaranteed, but you got a better shot if you have, the positive images and the direction, so I think that's what we all been trying to do, or what we've done in our lives, trying to, with people, trying to, offset some of the dumb stuff, and at the same time, try to better ourselves. And so I watched Superfly and Shaft. My daddy and mama we went to the movies. He took us to see the movie.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, that's a bad daddy." No, it was a wild movie, but I can say I can blame him, but hey, he has his own mindset. And so he was who he was. But at the same time, I will say this, that he and my mom, and they divorced and separated at when I was probably in elementary school. And but still, I knew right from wrong. I knew, I had learned respect, all those basic, things that you need for basic survival on a positive level. So I although we did go to those movies, and I think we even went to see Sweet Sweetback. but we didn't get but we had to close our eyes or something. Because no babysitter, and they went to see it. I think that's what it was. Not so much a baby, somebody. We was young, but at the end of the day, I look back at that. I was listening to Richard Pryor. Why was I listening to Richard Pryor? Because we had the albums. Who had the albums? My daddy and them. They had the albums in the house. So, hey, so I thought I was Richard Pryor. Let's recite Mudbone. Let's do it. So again, you are who you are. But at the end of the day, I don't have a. Don't get me wrong. Some of those things made me who I am today. So I may have a couple of regrets, but I don't have no. I'm not sour graping and crying about nothing, because like I say, it's an experience in life. And so we take those experiences and we live to tell it. Therefore, from experience, we might get somebody, give them some meaning of something, and where they can offset some of the dumb stuff that we might have been subjected to. So it's just part of our research, I call it. So anyway, but other than that, thank you tonight. I just was traveling, so I just wanted to chime in a little bit.
Well, man, that was excellent narrative. Lynda, you still there? You still there, Lynda? You're on mute. Okay, Rashaki, you have any closing remarks?
Hey, just keep the education flowing.
All right, but about
Stop.
you, huh?
Don't stop.
Oh no,
Flowing.
no. Our whole life is a book. Go ahead, Brother Joe. You have any closing remarks?
Yeah, just commenting on the, when you're parenting and you got kids that you're raising in your household, some that are not. I went through that, and it is a challenge. I was a weekend warrior all them years I was coaching, getting my oldest daughter and her brother, who wasn't mine, but I would try to do what I could, but it doesn't seem like stuff sticks as much, when they're not in your household.
There you go.
Growing up as a kid, I used to have to rely on a lot of the elder brothers in the neighborhood on about stuff, how to act, what to be. You get caught stealing and, 5 fingers and a quick getaway and all that. Had to be straightened out by the elders in the neighborhood, trying to get on you about stuff. But, that was a different era. I remember when I was a kid in the projects and the neighbors saw you doing wrong, they would whoop your butt. And then you got another when your parents got home,
Yeah.
stuff. So anyway, you learn, you try to pass issues on to them, so they won't make the mistakes you made. And, it's a constant learning experience when you think you know something and how it's going to turn out, and then it goes the other direction. It's
Teach.
it is what it is. And,
but Joe, you have a unique because you learn the value of economics and land and property, and you practice that. Most of us, didn't get that kind of. Well, we got it, but we didn't take it to heart like you did, and buy property and do things, and realize the importance of generational wealth and things of that nature. So I get a lot of respect for you.
Mr. Logan from what's that school over in Watts Elementary School? Did you know Top Wesley Logan, Mr. Logan?
Wood shop teacher?
He used to at Markham.
Yeah, he was at Markham. He was at Markham when I was there, swatting Logan. And I worked with him at Juvenile Hall, and he was at Centennial for a little while.
Yeah, that was my mentor on the property game, on a whole lot of stuff. Like I said, I learned from the elders in the community because the father got killed by the police when I was 10. My stepfather just worked me like a slave. I learned the value of working around a home yard work and washing cars and all that old kind of stuff without any pay. It was hard to deal with that. I was told that I got paid when I sat down at the dinner table at night.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Logan used to wear them stingy brims.
Yeah.
He's a good brother. Came up and watched me. I was in the BA7 when I met Mr. Logan.
You taught me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, Rashaki, what's going on tomorrow? You're on mute.
Yeah, let me show you. Well, I can just see it. We got Brother Chihuahua coming on. And I'll show it because some people may want to chime in if they see this on time. Let me just show it. Oh, I got to get to it. All right. So here we go. Anybody want to see the show tomorrow and hang out with us? You go to the homepage of the website, Community Education Network, and we have Brother Chihuahua, New Faculty of Thinking, Part 2. So he's going to come on and expand what he was talking about from the first time. He was on maybe about 2 months ago. And if you want to join in, it's right here. Join Zoom meeting, right underneath his name and the title. So that's what we have tomorrow, Professor Rahh.
All right. All right, then. Well, hey, each one teach one, and we're going to take that pause, as Rashaki said. See y'all tomorrow night, hopefully.
All right. Thanks a lot,
Mshinda,
everybody.
Mshinda, we're going to try to get together, man, before you leave town.
That's right.
All
Good
right.
deal.
All
All right,
right.
brother.
Conscious Corner, each one teach one.
Yeah, boy.